Done this question with a few people and they quite often get tripped up because of their inequality, but we'll come on to that in a minute. We're asked to sketch this curve y equals k over x, where k is a positive constant. So it's going to look a little bit like 1 over x or 2 over x. It's just a stretched version, but on some axes which are not kind of labeled, it's going to look the same. So when x approaches 0 from the positive, actually this function gets really big. And then when x gets big, the function gets smaller, and you get this kind of shape for your reciprocal. And then when it's small but negative, actually it ends up going to minus infinity. And then when it's big and negative, it goes to 0, but from the negative region. So that's our answer for A. It says, hence or otherwise, solve 16 over x less than or equal to 2. So I'm going to do this using the graph, and the graph really makes life a little bit easier. Because there is y equals 2. Let me just label both of them. Y equals, well, this is k over x, but now I'm doing 16 over x, but I'll label it as k over x. Y equals 2. So we can see that 16 over x is lower than 2 here, but also here. Now, if you just times through by x, you will get 16 is less than or equal to 2x, and therefore x is greater or equal to 8. And you'll get this bit on the right. But the problem is you'll miss this bit on the left. So you can definitely do it, but you also need to then say that x, it can also be less than 0, and that is our full solution. And I've just used the graph to get that, and just to say again, I've done 16 less than or equal to 2x, and then x greater or equal to 8. The problem is I've missed something, because you can't just start timesing by x when you have inequalities, technically speaking, because if x was negative, it would swap around. So if we weren't even given the graph here, here's like a way to do it. Instead of divide times into by x, let's times through by x squared. Then we get 16x less than or equal to 2x squared. This is just a really good algebraic way of doing it. We can do that because we know that x squared is going to be positive and we don't need to change the sign. Otherwise, you'd have to split into two cases. X is greater than 0, which is what I've done over here, and then x is less than 0. But this just deals with it all in one go. We do get a quadratic, but it's not too bad to solve. So then 2x squared minus 16x is going to be greater or equal to 0. I'm going to factorize out the 2x. I'm going to get my roots of 0 and 8. Draw my quadratic. Look for where it's above the axis, where it's greater than 0, and it's going to be this side and this side. And this is 8 and this is 0. So you see clearly from this, x can be greater or equal to 8 or less than 0. And I might say, what about less than or equal to 0? We've got to be careful because we can't actually have it equal to 0 because it's not, I mean, it says up here that it's not valid for x not equal to 0. So when you then times through by x squared, technically, you should really be saying x not equal to 0. At least have it in the back of your mind for all of this here. And then you won't miss it in the final answer. Okay, so that's how we can deal with it graphically or algebraically. Well done.